So hello, welcome back to the third part of the tools of the trade with FS-FlightControl, a universal tool, basically an instructor station for all kinds of simulators, and we had looked at the prepared version or the prepared interactions before, and now I have started X-Plane. This is the default MD82 of Lamina. So it's a default plane, and now one thing we need to do, because we have been in prepared, what I need to do is now I need to switch to X-Plane and I need to activate the simulator, and I will take a moment because it will now load the database that it had synchronized with X-Plane, and that can take some time, but basically it needs to get this done so that it would use other values and other settings. And I have realized that it is usually not enough to just change this, because there are many things that don't work properly. So what I do is then I actually exit it and then I restart it. So you can now see how it is restarting, loading the database, activating all the modules. Now, the X-Plane version is not quite finished. As far as I understand, it is more of an experimental beta kind of thing. So they're building on it, and they call it a mad dog. So let's assign that to the default profile. Again, it offers you these things here, such as the PFD, but my experience is that, for example, the airspeed isn't properly working. Now we can't test this while we're here on the ground, but there are some limitations to this in X-Plane that I'm not sure where they come from. Aircraft status is same thing as we know already. The parking brake is over here on the side. Whoops, too much. So here's the parking brake. Let's see. It doesn't seem to work. Parking brake is always set. So the light goes on and off, but I don't seem to be able to control the parking brake from that switch. So let's have a look at the flaps positions. It's only in percent, so it can't detect how many steps there are, but it at least it does actually, it can actually move. The spoilers can't be moved at all. When I arm it, it can't see that, and when I actually deploy it, it doesn't get that value. So these might still be things that are in development and will change eventually. Local QNH 1015. Let's set this, and it doesn't look like it has done anything. Set to, press that button. 10:15, no. So this doesn't work either. As you can see, we're still on 10:13. And the thing is, this will need to be done for every individual aircraft. Oh, wrong one. Why is this going? This is wrongly coded again. Not very well tested, it seems. There is actually the APU, but I'm somewhat sure that let's see, it needs to start master, then it can start the APU, and we can see if it can detect anything. So you already see a lot of things that do only limit their limits to what works and what doesn't work. Okay, so let's activate this. Let's activate the air conditioning, and it doesn't look like it can see the electric currents and stuff like that. So that doesn't work. The cabin altitude, this is the landing sort of altitude, 266 feet, and you can dump again. Not sure if it's doing anything. When we press these buttons, in theory doors could open. I'm not sure now if this aircraft has doors that can open, but we can have a quick look. Doesn't look like it's affecting any of the doors. So this doesn't seem to work. Okay. Next is the engines. Engine status, fuel available, no. Oh, that's interesting, because that would mean we do not have any fuel. Let's see if that is actually correct, or maybe that's because we have switched it off. Okay, there's 8.8 tons, so that's fine. Engine controls, actually you can't see the throttle lever, that doesn't work either. And the engine switches, generator 1 and 2. I think this isn't... Oh, this is actually working. So possibly the starter is working as well. So why don't we fuel pumps are on, and I am going to... No, so the starter switch doesn't work. This is probably now far too fast, so I'm not sure that we are actually seeing any movement here. No, it doesn't look like it. So we're not yet done with all the setups. Yeah, I don't worry about that. No, there's still some things missing. Don't want to go through that now. Radio and autopilot. So if we go down here, no, here I mean, let's quickly check. So the radios appear to work if I enter another frequency, 500 for example, and I confirm, and then I can move it over. That works. Okay, so the radios seem to work. The autopilot, at least to a certain degree, will probably work. So the autopilot, auto throttle arm, auto throttle toga, wing leveler, altitude hold, approach hold. Well, these things won't work now, I suppose. Airspeed. So let's see if we can change the airspeed to 0. No, that doesn't look good. See this? So this isn't working. Altitude. Yeah, well, altitude seems to work. V speeds does work as well, and heading. Heading seems to work, but the speed doesn't work. Auto brake, I'm not sure if this is working. Let's see. So here's the auto brake. Let's see if it actually switches. It indeed does. So we are in the RTO position, and position 1 is actually off. So it's not exactly synchronized with reality. Okay. Flight director master we've seen, and reference pitch angle and reference bank angle. Okay, light switches. So let's see. Landing lights, on off, yeah. Strobe, navigation beacon works. Master battery works. Avionics master doesn't work. No smoking and seat belts. It is actually doing something, it seems. Very nice. Okay. ATC control, yeah, but we're not going to use ATC and X-Plane. It calls up the standard menu, but that's about it. It can't do more than that. Now when we come to the map, there's actually no big difference between the X-Plane version and the rest, so it is easily capable of putting these here. Now AI aircraft, let's see if I am able to set AI aircraft. Oh god, where was that again? It's already some time ago. No, don't think it's here. It's actually, is it here? Yeah, AI aircraft. Add an aircraft. Done. So it needs to now load this aircraft. And again, you can see this is the X-Plane database which I had updated with the current airports. And I think it's showing us an AI aircraft here, so I am impressed. Here it is. I am impressed. It's a, what is it? It says AI here. It's supposed to be a Boeing, but this is now a bit hard to read. Let's turn off the centering here, because so it tells us basically it's AI 130 feet, something like GOT 170, whatever that is. But that's cool, because that means we are actually able to see AI aircraft. Let's go to conditions and weather themes, and use a clear weather theme. Oh, I'm too quick. Okay, so here's the weather theme. Friendly with some clouds, but not a lot. And now let's see if we can spot that aircraft. Not sure that that's an AI aircraft. I don't think so. I think this is built into the scenery. Performance is abysmal, unfortunately. So our aircraft in theory should be, I think, somewhere here. So let's see. Map. It is basically at the runway. Oh, hang on. I'm in the wrong direction. Performance. This airport doesn't perform very well with me. Time for a new machine. Oh god. Yeah, this is not nice. So let's see. It's really bad performance. There it is. I think that must be it. Or maybe not. Or maybe it is. I would think that this is actually it, and it looks like it's going to push back. And that means we should be able to see it, and we even see that there is a movement vector here. So nice one. So AI works also in X-Plane. That's good. That's great. And when all the other things do work the same way, there's no big difference here in the map. Okay, so let's go to the flight plan. Let's go back here into the aircraft and have a look here. Now, when we look at the legs, so basically what we can do again is that we pick one of them flight plans here, like to Oslo. And we can now export the flight plan, so we can save it as an X-Plane flight plan. We cannot directly load it into X-Plane. So what we can do now is we can save it. We have already, I think. So there's no need to do this again because it is already here. And then we can load it by going on to the route menu here, company route lists, and there should be, yeah, here it is. So I can load this here, and then I have the route here in the FMC. Nav data out of, yeah, okay, that's fine. So execute it, and then we can set other things. This is a default plane, so we can also import a flight plan, but not from the simulator. So in X-Plane that does not work, okay, unlike P3D and FSX. But we basically have our flight plan now in theoretically in sync with the aircraft. Can now see how that AI is actually moving forward, and yep, that's good, that's very nice. So we have been through position, map, aircraft statistic is the same, flight plan and network we don't need, conditions we've seen it works. I mean, you can real-time weather is a little bit different actually. That's probably have to show you. So real-time weather, you would actually turn on the real-time weather of X-Plane. So they leave it to X-Plane to actually pump this in. They wouldn't create their own, and you can refresh it anytime. So let's go to the weather theme here. Let's use this weather theme. So this actually should be the clear weather theme. Why we do have clouds, I don't know. And actually the current weather thing does work here. Alright, so here you can see the current conditions, 1013, 15 degrees, pretty much standard weather. If I put ILS visibility on, Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3, Cat 3B, Cat 3C, far more realistic than in prepared. Here I can do all kinds of stuff with my weather, and I can use the same preset I already used in prepared, because it just sets the weather that I had saved before. And season and time, same thing. I can change this, and it is bright. Yeah, it's instant basically. You can switch time and day and so on. Without, so I could move to the 8th at 0700 in the morning, set custom date and time, and there we are. Nothing is reloaded. The aircraft actually stays on, and I find myself at this position at a different time of the day. Now in theory we can speed up the simulator. The thing is, this simulator wouldn't do much more than 2 times. My machine just doesn't allow for more. But you can switch it here as well, so that's working. Motion is not for us. Pushback does work the same way here. So let's do this. Please release your parking brake. Okay, the parking brake is released, and we just have a little watch of how it is actually pushing us back. And while it is pushing, we are going to change the ILS visibility, no, the weather themes to clear again, so that we can see something. And now it's turning. So it works very well also in also in X-Plane. The fuel load, it wants us to assign it again to a profile, and this is probably could be a little bug. Had some issues there, but basically what I can do here is, as before, 5000, enter, and it will set the fuel. And if you go to edit weight and balance, you can see that we are actually at almost 5000 because it was already used some. And here is actually what I would have preferred in the other one, and that is the payload. So it's 4800. I'm going to do 3000 and enter it, and now that means that we've come a bit lighter. It will calculate the empty weight, the zero fuel weight, and the gross weight, but it cannot really calculate the center of gravity. That doesn't seem to work. The pause works here as well. The view and slew, very similar thing. Actually, I could do my pushback with this functionality. So this is the AI aircraft just taking off. Stop the slow. Disable the slow. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one here, but... And now we come to failures, and what you can see here is that in X-Plane the failures is actually 2-page selections, and inside these selections you have tons of individual errors, like instruments G1000, instruments G430, instrument navigation, instrument primary, instrument sensor, wing separation, the whole world. I can actually simulate a bird strike. That actually does really work. It simulates a bird strike. Brownout, controls lock, door open, runway lights, smoke in cockpit. Yeah, smoke in cockpit. Do you want to see how smoke in cockpit looks? Watch this. Hang on. Watch this here. I'm turning on smoke in cockpit now. Prepared. You are not even aware that something like that exists. And in X-Plane we get smoke and we need to do something about it. Not sure what. I'm going to disable it. But it actually works. And when I selected bird strike, we had birds flying against the airplane and we had an engine on fire. Okay, so this is what works in X-Plane. So this whole failure thing works actually quite interestingly, and there's tons of options here. Yeah, engine prop, engine fuel, engine accessories, aircraft lights, aircraft landing gear, aircraft equipment. These are all failures, possible failures that you can set and program and have as random failure to hit you. Amazing. So yeah, that's about it. The rest of the stuff is very similar to what you know. In X-Plane there are some things that do not work, like we've seen it in prepared. Some things I think might still be in development because they do not work really very good. But that's okay, because I know that they are in the making of it, and therefore sooner or later we are going to see a proper version of that. And with this I'm fine. So I'm going to wait for updates and hoping for it getting better with every update. But so far I have to say this is a great tool. Now I can see my map here and I can zoom in or use the auto zoom and have exactly what I need to taxi here on Romeo Whiskey, or is it Papa Whiskey? Here's Sierra Mike, Tango Sierra Tango Romeo, Romeo Echo, Romeo Whiskey. So Romeo for west, W for west, Echo for east, you know, so it's all there. It's a good scenery. It has the taxiways properly defined, therefore it can actually read it from the database, and this is what it's showing us then. Right, that's about it. Enough videos now for that particular tool, but I thought it's worth looking at it a bit more closely. I've been looking around. There are some videos about it also in English, in Portuguese and some other languages, but yeah, this is probably might be one of the most comprehensive ones around, or maybe I haven't found one yet. Right, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.